Vasyl Stus is one of Ukraine's most significant and complex 20th century poets, and a unique and in many ways unlikely poetic voice. He's someone who spent more than 10 final years of his life in the Gulag and died in the notorious Perm 36 forced labor camp in 1985.
Вчися чекати, друже, вчися чекати. Ластівки на електричних дротах, почорнілі от сині неба, ще наслухають стомні струми землі.
In 1980, Stus's state-appointed lawyer, Viktor Medvedchuk, he essentially confirmed the charges that the prosecutor had put forward against Stus. We find ourselves in a very strange situation where someone who contributed to Stus receiving his murderous sentence is still such a proactive part of contemporary Ukrainian politics. In 1983, Stus's so-called Gulag diary was smuggled out of the labor camp, and it was published. Against all odds, it was possible to preserve it and for the world to see it. It was translated into English, it was translated into German. And Stus is mostly known as a martyr, as a national hero who died fighting for human rights and national rights. In his poetry, he was fragile. Fragility is not the kind of word we often associate with Stus. These are poems, first and foremost, of the internal journey. In one of his poems, he says, "The eternal incompleteness of endeavor, the motion of the motion of the motion." In his poetry, we're never at one with ourselves. He seamlessly combines the everyday language, the old Slavonic language, historicisms, dialecticisms, and his own language, the language that he coins, that he creates, his own neologisms. Just think of his words, "само собою наповнення," feeling oneself with oneself, this process, constant process of self-formation. Think of his word, "не до новонародження," not yet being born again. In one of his essays, T.S. Eliot wrote that the difference between art and the event is absolute. What he means by that is that the fact that someone was a victim of the Soviet Gulag system does not automatically make their works brilliant. There is an artistic level to poetry, beyond and above the actual experiences that the poet has. And it is especially the case in Stus's poetry, where Stus focused on his own self, on the dynamics of the self to such a radical degree that it essentially overcame the walls around him, the historical conditions that he was in.
Галактик зірна круговерть, спіраллю простаного болю, знашить людську одвічну долю, снігами вимощену вщерть.
Most recently, during the Euromaidan revolution of 2013 and 14, Stus's image was next to the images of Ukraine's classic writers, Taras Shevchenko, Ivan Franko, Lesa Ukrainka. Stus's image was there at the Euromaidan, and it simply said, "Я з вами," I am with you. You being collective, you. I am with all of you. So he had this prominent place at the Euromaidan, and he was part of this crucial, significant juncture of Ukrainian history. There are monuments to Stus around the country. Stus has really become this inseparable part of the national narrative now. For that reason is misunderstood and confined to his political struggle, but at the same time we should remember that there is so much to appreciate in his poetic works.